Ahead of the upcoming release of Christopher Nolan's latest film, The Odyssey, I wanted to take a look at some of his earlier films and see if I could glean some insight into how he might handle the universal story of Odysseus' return home from war. But then I thought, why does that sound familiar? And then I realized, Nolan has experience already with a story about folks trying to make it home from war. Dunkirk. Christopher Nolan's 2017 World War II film is among his very best, but it doesn't seem to share the same cultural acclaim as some of his other more popular films. In my opinion, what makes it truly special is that it's one of Nolan's most complete works. It has an effective use of time and timelines. It uses IMAX cameras in incredibly new ways. The pacing is perfect, and it has some of his best set pieces. But all of that fails to impress if it doesn't successfully accomplish one very specific thing: leveraging and at times subverting what I like to call the expectation of resolution. Our understanding of film as a medium means we expect certain implied rhythms throughout a given runtime. It's a push and pull of tension and release, and it's exactly what Christopher Nolan exploits to really dramatic effect. Let's start with the score. Hans Zimmer deploys the use of what's called a shepherd tone throughout the score. A shepherd tone is a musical illusion where the overlapping layers of an ascending octave can give the effect that the musical phrase is never ending. One layer crescendos or gets louder, one layer diminuendos or gets quieter, and one layer stays the same. But when you combine them together, it gives this illusion that the music just keeps going up and up. That perpetual motion upward never resolves. Let's take a listen. You might notice 3 ascending melodies at 3 different tempos: a slow, medium, and then fast. Does that sound familiar? It's time to take a look at the structure. The film is careful to bounce from timeline to timeline with intention. It almost always follows a specific order. First the mole, then the sea, then the air, then back to the mole again, and we repeat that process. That perpetual motion is like the shepherd tone we mentioned earlier, and it has a similar effect. Nolan is aiming to do one very specific thing. He's trying to foreshadow a moment in later scenes through context in the one that you're currently in. Here are a few examples. In the sea timeline, Cillian Murphy's character has just been saved. They ask him if he wants to go below deck to rest, but he refuses.
Even me, George. He feels safer on deck. You would too if you'd been bombed.
U-boat. It was a U-boat.
That exchange establishes that the boats within this film have to contend with attacks from the air and the sea, and that changes how we watch the next scene. We cut back to the mole, and the soldiers are eating, and we as the audience should feel relieved. Instead, because of the information we now have, there's this tense feeling of dread, and then we see the torpedo, and our fears are confirmed. The aftermath of the attack is made all the more horrifying by the fact that we know from the shell-shocked look on Cillian Murphy's face what such terror can do to a person. We don't just witness what happens, we're anticipating with dread because we know just enough information to sort of start plugging those gaps. It continues from there. As the soldiers scramble in the water after the torpedoing in the mole, Murphy's character reappears. This time he's on a lifeboat, and he seems calm and almost dismissive of these panicked soldiers.
Don't panic, boys. The water's not too rough or too cold.
And it dawns on us, the audience, Murphy's character hasn't experienced the horrors of a torpedoing yet. And as a soldier shouts,
Wait till you get torpedoed, then do it! Get up!
It's a subtle hint to the audience that we have more information than we think, because we know how he'll react, and the circumstances of his experience will change him forever. Here's another example.
The Royal Engineers are building piers from lorries. At least that should help us when the tide comes back.
Well, we'll know in 6 hours' time.
I thought the tides were every 3.
Then it's good that you're Army and I'm Navy, isn't it?
It's played for a minor bit of much-needed humorous relief, but then we cut to the boys on the boat.
Right, let's shut ourselves inside, boys. Wait for the high tide. How long's that? Every 3 hours?
We immediately understand this could be a deadly mistake. A less talented director would stop there, and the film would be mostly successful. But what Nolan does really effectively is that he takes that tension and builds real emotional cathartic release with these characters that we honestly don't even know much about. Which brings me to the heart. The heart of the film, in my opinion, rests within these two specific sequences. They both succeed in building off of our expectation of resolution to deliver powerful, emotional catharsis. The first has to do with Mark Rylance's Mr. Dawson. We're in the sea timeline, and Mr. Dawson is emphatic about helping the pilot who had just ditched his plane.
Dad, come on, there was no shooting. He's probably dead.
Simon, I hear you, Peter, I hear you. He may be alive, he may be. May be able to help him.
Mr. Dawson's stalwart optimism is surprising. It isn't until later, when Mr. Collins showcases his knowledge of air tactics, that we discover exactly why.
How do you know that stuff anyway?
My son's one of you lot. I knew he'd see us through.
You're RAF.
No, not me. My brother. He flew Hurricanes. Died third week into the war.
It's a small moment that reflects the generational trauma that a war like this has on countless people. The other sequence starts just after Cillian Murphy has knocked George down the stairs.
Is he all right? The boy?
No. No, he's not.
Then the three storylines converge, and it's at this point of the film we realize George has died. And this time he asks,
Will you be okay? Boy.
Peter hesitates, because Peter knows George is not okay, and he can decide in that moment to act on that hurt. Instead, he says,
Yeah.
Peter's response gives the soldier the grace to avoid the regrets of everything this war has done to him. The grief of a father is converted to action, and the kindness of a son is converted to mercy. These two moments are perfect examples of what everyone in this film is fighting for: our humanity. The score, the structure, the use of time, they're all techniques that Christopher Nolan uses to build a relentless tension throughout the film. But in that chaos, we discover moments when our humanity overcomes the impossible. Resolution doesn't take the shape we expect. It doesn't look like some epic final battle. It lives in the story of George. George's story is heartbreaking, but it's also incredibly powerful. His sacrifice ensures the survival of dozens of British soldiers. George's bravery gets to have the same weight as an act of valor from a soldier, and I think that's because the film argues that bravery can take any form. The heroism of this film lives not in battle or in bold strategy. It's about survival, and how survival can, in its own way, be an act of bravery. And when we walk in to see the Odyssey, we should be reminded of the message that Dunkirk provides, that sometimes the bravest act of all is just to come home. Thank you for tuning in to our latest episode of Essays on Frame. We'll see you next time.